Aloha and thanks for tuning in. Here we are at Logan Airport in Boston, and I actually just got pushed back from E9, which is funny because I'm in a Cessna, and I'm just going to take a quick loop around Boston. Settings are on high, or excuse me, ultra, all the way around. I just kind of wanted to see what it would look like taking off from like a populated airport near a decent sized city. And it's kind of duskish. So I already have permission to taxi, and I think I got to go out to like a runway 3-ish. I left the taxi ribbon on because I've never, even in the game, I've never flown out of Logan. In real life, I've flown out of here 15 or 20 years ago, but as a passenger, had no clue exactly where I was going. So without further ado, we're gonna turn ourselves around and follow the illuminated cheat code here. You may notice the compass isn't illuminated right now. For some reason, I think it has to do with a connection in the back, which I'll obviously have to investigate. My panel dimmer is not 100%. So, if it's not one thing, it's another. It's the little things. But along those lines, one of the things I love this cockpit. I do miss not being able to fly other planes. There's other planes I like to fly that now I've put myself in a position where I can't. So I looked over all the pieces parts I had left over, and I have enough pieces parts to build a I'm going to call it a multi-pit. Basically, it's going to be a less sophisticated, less immersive version of this. And I have another unused space in the house. So I'm going to use two Hewlett-Packard 22-inch monitors that they've been collecting dust for years. As the side view, I've got a 43-inch television. It's an older 4K that is just kind of hanging out. I'm going to use that as the main. And the computer that used to run this setup was a Ryzen 7 3080 Ti. It stopped working a while back, but it was actually the EVGA 850 watt power supply had a problem on one of the rails, and it was one of the rails that actually went to the graphics card. So when the graphics card would ramp up, the whole computer would just shut down because of the rail. But troubleshooting it was fun because unless you were going to game, the rail acted fine. Only when it got fully loaded did it die. So finally I just said to heck with it, and I got a new graphics card and a new power supply, excuse me, and it works like a champ. So that computer is going to run that multi-pit setup. So if I do want to fly other types of aircraft, I can jump in other types of aircraft. Now I may show that same setup with the budget PC that I started I'll call it a mini series on. I don't think the budget PC is going to handle the multi-pit well, but why not try it? But my goal with that cockpit is going to be to build that whole setup, spending $0, only using my leftover pieces parts. I think I can do it. I think I have enough leftover pieces parts, so I think it'll be interesting. I think we're actually coming up here. Oh, and let me, I didn't set everything up, so let's pause for a second. Excuse me, I mean an actual real pause in the game. And then that's one thing I forgot to do here. Look at that. Wouldn't it help if I had that all set up ahead of time? Yes, it would. So, bring it down here, bring it up. And now it's up fully, yay. And up here, and yeah, that's good. Okay, and there we go. And now let's unpause ourselves. Ooh, and we're off. A little better, a little better. I was distracted by actually talking. But I think that next project will be fun. It'll be using leftover pieces parts, and I think I can build the whole setup with maybe 4 pieces of wood. So I think the challenge is going to be to build a no-cost multi-pit that could be built by anybody else for a very low price. So when I do that video, I'll throw it up, obviously, but I'll also tally how much money each piece originally cost me. And another thing I got coming up that I want to do is I want to do something on the transponder setup. A huge fan of it. I had a quirk on the last flight I did where my thousands indicator, the display in the knob, shifted over to the ones place. I rebooted the computer and it went away. So it was a quirk with MobiFlight, but I think it's because I left the whole setup running overnight. I left the computer up and running and MobiFlight was on in the background. So I think that's what happened there. Not sure, but now everything works fine. But I'm gonna take the 3D shell of this that I already printed, and I'm gonna put it online, but I'm also gonna shoot a video where I just walk through the basic setup of it. It's super easy to build, and after that, probably a week or two after that, I'm gonna do a radio panel, because I may replace this prop wash sim panel as well, with one that runs in MobiFlight. Now my panel will actually use the 7219s instead of these displays, and I'll use dual rotary encoders and a push button. But this, I can, by putting the 7219s one on top of the other, you can fit them both in the same space. And I think I can do that, and you can build that for probably about $45. You can build the complete radio. I've already designed it 3D everything. It's just a matter of, and it's already printed. It's a matter of throwing the pieces parts together. But between the Arduino, the 7219s, the buttons, and the rotary encoders, it shouldn't be more than 45 or 50 bucks for the radio itself. And I think in that, not in the multi-pit, because I think the multi-pit I'm going to be different, but I do want to set up a panel or an area that I build myself. And we're almost to our runway, which is up here. I think we're in 33 left-ish. And slept on that parking brake. Quick, let's do lost a little. We'll go back up. We lost a little. Okay. So we're doing good there. Okay, so it's here. Let's take our brake off. And let's go. And we're now on 33 left. Go. Takeoff flaps are set. Trim is set. Definitely not center line right now, but I can hold straight. Airspeed's alive. Main terminals over there. Some fancy hotels over there as well. Flaps up. And we're gonna fly left. We're going to come back around. We're going to just fly up that coastline there. Because why not? And you can see the parking garage. You know, epic sights of Boston. Parking garage. Of course I'll acknowledge that. Pushy video game. Alrighty. Here we are. We're coming up on 1,000 feet-ish. We're 900 some odd. Cargo ship down there. Which would be really cool if you got close enough, if they were actually rotating and radiating on the radars and whatnot. Be kind of cool. It's the little things you love, you know? So downtown Boston is back that way, so we're going to zip around and head there. So let's do a fairly tight turn here. Pardon my crazy flying, I'm just doing some touristy stuff. I just want to look around, and I am not online with anybody else right now, so I'm not being a nuisance to any other flight sim enthusiasts out there. And because of that, let me get rid of that. So that's out of the way. Taking some sights as we go. Going to ALT so they don't yell at me. Let me see where we are here. Okay. So we got downtown Boston up ahead. TD Bank North. the Celtics and the Bruins. Just too dark to make out any details. I wish I had done this a little bit earlier in the day on the sim. But there it is, right there, TD Bank North. It's even got the Bruins logo on it, which is pretty awesome. I think I paid for an upgrade on the visuals though to do that. Got some traffic going on down there. I'm a huge fan of seeing traffic in the game, I won't lie. Here, that is Fenway Park. Let's see if we can get overhead so you can make that out. The Citgo sign, and there is Fenway. I dipped a little too low. I'm now flying around at about 400 feet. And the lower I go, the greater the detail is. You can see things are starting to hiccup a little. Even with the 40-80, because I'm really running. Yeah, I heard you, but I didn't want to talk to you. Here we go, yeah. So now we can kind of just I'm going to zip out that way and then come out of runway a little different. Look at some traffic while I'm here. I gotta say, even with the little bit of stutter, because I'm flying so low, and there's a ridiculous amount of detail on these screens right now, even with all that, it's still pretty fluid. But this said, oh, and look what just happened. I don't know whether I did that, or maybe I moved the mouse the wrong way. I probably accidentally clicked somewhere that I shouldn't have. I can mess with that a little later. I definitely clicked somewhere I shouldn't have. Yes, while you're flying, you should do this. Absolutely, that's a good idea. Okay, there we go. No, not as good still. Damn it. Oh, the fun. All right, a little better. Now let me make sure I'm off that screen so I don't accidentally mess myself up yet again. The quirks of flying in a flight simulator. One of the things I have been thinking about doing, which I'm sure if you followed along you may mock me for, I'm thinking about actually going to analog gauges. That I originally built this for analog. I'm testing some out now, and I've got to rebuild the altimeter. Everything else has been tested and works. My turn coordinator was one of my issues before. The actual ball just wouldn't work right, and I think it's because I went too far with it. It didn't have limits set on it, and it literally just drove itself off the little spindle or a little part of the motor that drives it. So I think I messed it up with how I coded it. So I took the X27 stepper motor out of it, put another one in, and I got it mostly working on the budget setup. And where's a good place to land? Let's come on that one. And again, I'm not flying online with anybody else, so I'm not going to be a nuisance to anybody else out there. No, but I've got the airspeed, turn coordinator with the ball, and VSI all working on another setup upstairs. Just testing them out. So I think and here we go. And this is going to be a horrible landing because I'm just messing around. There was no flight planning. I even left this off because I just wanted to tool around. So feel free to mock me in the comments. I overshot that a little. And this is it's fairly random, but what I wish Microsoft would do, what X-Plane already does, is allow you to turn things off like their whiskey compass. I'm not a fan of their whiskey compass, I'm not gonna lie. So now let's bring us around. I'm a little low, but I'm also right there. There we go. And I'm a little left again. So let's get back over. And there we go. Kind of good enough for government work. Horrible landing, but again, there was no planning at all with that one. That was just random flying and take a look at some stuff. Yeah, just little quirks so far. Again, the illumination, just I think it's connection in the back. Other than that, everything's going great in here. But those other things I mentioned, I definitely am going to do that multi-pit, and I'm gonna do a build on this guy here. If anybody's interested in that, throw a comment down below. But I'm also gonna do a radio as well, similar to this. But yeah, thanks for watching, sticking with me. I'm going to be taxiing for a little while. I'll probably stop the video. And, yeah. Stay safe. And as always, happy flying out there. And, thanks for sticking with me for